Good morning, everybody. This is another episode of Four Chicks Chatting. Welcome. And today we have actually two very special guests, and we are basically going to do a Four Chicks podcast takeover with the one and only Chip Baker and his co-author, Dr. Reid. So I'm going to give you a quick intro to Chip, and then Chip is going to take it over. So Chip Baker is a teacher coach that has been in the education profession for 20 years. Way to go. You are doing amazing things in that environment, I know. He is a graduate of Heath A&M, is that right?
West Texas A&M.
West Texas A&M. He played football and graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Sports and Exercise. Throughout his career, he has received Teacher of the Year twice on his campus. He's published several articles. He has been a head football coach, athletic director, and I'm sure inspiring those kids to go on and do great things and achieve many levels of success. He has a YouTube channel, and he has published 2 books now. And Chip, I'm going to let you tell the audience about those books and introduce Dr. Reid, the co-author of your second book.
All right. Well, first I want to say 2 words. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Well, we're almost out of time after that bio, though.
I know, right?
Hey, so, all right.
Anything else?
No,
I'm starting to feel about this big now.
First, I want to say thanks so much to the 4 Chicks for allowing us to be on today. Since we've connected, I think, it's been great. We all have had amazing growth in our lives, and I'm so thankful and blessed to be connected with you ladies and glad to be on today. I'm just looking forward to having a great time. But myself, like she said, that's the bio, put out 2 books, but I want to introduce Dr. Oliver T. Reid. He's the co-author with both of the books that I've put out. He's been involved with like 20 books now. A great guy, philanthropist, preacher, just does lots, life coach, has a board game, speaker.
Well, that's a new one.
I'm telling you, I just want to warn you before we get the dude is amazing. Okay. So, but just a great, great man. And again, a person that I'm truly fortunate and blessed to have crossed paths with. And we're looking forward to having a good time today with you ladies and talk about our second book that we just dropped about a week ago.
So let's jump in. So give us the title of the book and tell us, we know you, Chip, but tell us about your association, Dr. Reid, and tell us about the book.
All right. So the book is Effective Conversation to Ignite Relationships.
Ooh, I love that word, ignite.
Boom.
Yeah.
So good.
Boom.
Boom is right.
Boom. You're speaking Kathy's language, too.
But yeah, Dr. Reid and I, through the Success Chronicles, we connected. I interviewed him, hit it off very well. Like I said, great guy, doing some great things, great man to learn from. And so interviewed him. We're like, hey, let's link next week and do a topic session. And so we did that, had a good time. Like, hey, let's do it again next week. We'll do another topic, right? So we did that. So that process went on for like a month or a month and a half, right? And so eventually we were like, hey, we need to put this in a book or something. Like, this is some good stuff. And so what we decided on, we have a 4-book series, and this book is the second book in the series. So the first book that we put out last year around this time was Growing Through Your Go-Through. And the series is Solutions to Your Success. He's a solutions coach. The Success Chronicles, so we put our stuff together there. But like I said, the first book was Growing Through Your Go-Through. Second book we just dropped out last week, Effective Conversation to Ignite Relationships. And I love for Dr. Reid to just kind of talk some about our process and kind of where we are with everything.
Great. Thanks, 4 Chicks again. And Chip, I am definitely excited. Chip always brings me along and carries me to.
But you weren't expecting this ride, were you?
Right. I'm just like, yeah, let's go. And because he's the go-get-it guy, and I'm just tagging along, right? And so I thank you, ladies, this morning, just to be able to share what the process was. Us just taking some of the things that we love to do, our passion, and I work as a writing coach. And I said, Chip has such a great message. And such a great, I don't even know. A lot of times I say it's not fair, ladies, because I think there's 2 of him. There's probably somebody clone out here doing something.
He's everywhere at all times.
Yes.
You know that movie, God?
Yes.
There he is. Oh.
And I was like, oh man. I said, you got to have a book. He wanted to do a book. And I was like, I want to be one of the first people that do it with you. And so because I know systems, we were able to convert some of the things we were doing and create a book. It was a long process. Like we tell people, people say, how do you do it? And we're like, it's a long process. We actually have known each other for a while, but me and Chip only know each other virtually. And we were able to come together and do this virtually and put out a product that was a bestseller twice on Amazon. And we're looking forward to do greater things together.
That's really awesome. I think, you know, we live in such a digital world that people often forget that. And my branding clients, one of the messages I talk a lot about is that networking online, because we can't always do everything we need to do in person. And as moms, especially, and I know, Chip, you've got a son. I don't know about you, Dr. Reid, but we all have children and grandchildren, and it's hard to get to networking events. But you can do such powerful things networking online. And we have so many tools now. I know, Chip, we're connected on LinkedIn and Instagram, and we use those tools, and that's how we connected. I think it was originally Twitter when you reached out to me, and that was a couple years ago. So those tools are so powerful, and I think that's a great message that the two of you have come to such levels of success by networking online, virtually.
Yes, I have four kids, and actually a grandbaby, so definitely.
So you're in the same boat.
So, so tell us about first of all, I love the titles, growing through your go through that just, to me, I love that, you know, that whole concept of that there can be growth through challenges and transitions and all of that. That's huge. I mean, that's, you know, we get in those situations and we think they're static and they're all bad, but when you're on the other side of it, you see there was an opportunity for growth. So that's huge. But now tell us about this new book.
So like you said, with growing through your go through, none of us are immune from going through tough things. You know, I don't care who you are, how you're, whatever it is, we all have our personal struggles that we go through and we have to like live and learn through. And so what we want to do is not just go through those things and experience experiences, but as we're going through that, have the awareness to take the blessings from the lessons, right? And then grow through that. So when you come out on the other side, you're better, you know, yes, for you, which is good. But like you guys said, you know, we all have other people that are depending on us. You know, we all have people in our lives that we have to be on point for. And so what it allows us to do is be the best versions of ourselves so that we're better for those people. And growing through you go through. But effective conversation, you know, you look at it, you know, I'll start with the quote that I have in my section of the book. It's from one of my former pastors, Pastor Danny Green. It says, you know, our life moves at the speed of our relationships.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Very good.
Right.
We're going to tweet that.
Brilliance bomb right there.
You know, and if you think about it, you know, if you just take a couple seconds to reflect on, you know, everything we do in our lives requires us to have effective conversation in our relationships in order for us to grow and move forward. And so that's, you know, husband and wife, that's boyfriend, girlfriend, that's business, that's whatever it is. Like everything is a relationship in our life, you know? And so what we do, we broke down, like I said, we did the topic session. So the start of the book, is the interview that we did. And then from there, each of us have a section where we break down tips and talk about, you know, have practical tips to, you know, have effective conversation to ignite the relationship. And I love for Dr. Reid to kind of talk about what his section's about, because hold on, let me warn you again. It's going to be some good stuff. But I like what
I sit myself back and get ready.
I have to give you warnings because, like, I'm going to give you some sound effects like, whoa, like, man.
Roll bar down.
Yeah, let's go. So, Doc, if you don't mind telling them about, you know, your section and some of the things that you discuss in there.
Yeah, I love this the collaboration and book. It really is. What I do in my relationship coaches is teach people how to look at relationships from the inside out. There's so many people that look at relationships from the outside in. The manifestation of material, job, career, social, economic status. But in this book, me and Chip wanted to dive deeper and deal with the inside out, and how to connect, whether it's a platonic, romantic, whatever type of relationship, you can actually connect. And so I start to talk about in the book about we hear at a faster rate than we speak scientifically. So there's a lot of dead space.
Boom.
So sometimes
I'm sorry. My bad.
even now,
You're right.
I'll give a scenario. We're on the phone, if we're married or we have a friend or whatever kind of meeting, we might be like, okay, we're going to meet at 2:00. And the other person is hearing you, but they hear at a faster rate. So they're thinking, get to the point already. Right. And so they don't know that you said 2 p.m. So they're at the airport at 2 a.m. And now we have this conflict. You said 2. No, you didn't. And so a lot of times we're not paying special attention or taking the time to hear and to slow down. So I start off the chapter by saying we hear at a faster rate than we speak. So choose your words wisely. Words carry messages, carry codes, and everybody has a code of communication. So I'll talk about that in the book.
It's a good one right here. Hit them with the codes, Doc. Hit them with the codes.
Kath, you can speak to that. I mean, that's right up your alley. And that whole concept of the way people hear things and process things is so dependent on the individual. And we have to be conscious of that when we're communicating, right?
Yes. It's so powerful because I feel like everybody has a password. Because, think about it, 4 chicks. I could have your phone. We can have the same identical manufacturer, but you have a different password on it. And so I won't be able to log in. I'll lock myself out. So if I don't understand passwords or the past words that people have heard, I always say passwords equal passwords. So I didn't know that in your family, this word shut you down. And now we're together and I'm using it because I'm just going to say what I got to say, right? So at the end of the day, I'm shutting you down and locking me out of a successful relationship.
Dr. Reid, are you saying past, P-A-S-T, or past, P-A-S-S?
Both.
Oh,
So past
words equal past words. Okay,
words.
that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
I already wrote that down. That's going out. That's going out in a tweet.
Yeah.
Show notes.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure because they sound similar, and I didn't want to quote the wrong thing.
So the P-A-S-T and the P-A-S-S definitely works together. And if you don't know them, I do a word search. Remember, my mom used to do those crossword puzzles or word searches to see what word works with your computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So this is so interesting because, and I quote the grow through your go through all the time now. Just the title alone is so impactful because if you don't grow through it, then what was the point of it? Then you're stuck. Mm-hmm. However, now I'm seeing though, if you didn't grow through something you went through and learn about yourself, then you don't know your passwords. You don't know how to then make that communication to your partner, to your coworker, all of that. So it's like, so did you guys do this intentionally? It's building block books, one on top of the other?
Yes.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's the series. It's steps to it. And it's it's great stuff. Great stuff.
And I like that they're bite-sized enough that it doesn't feel overwhelming, because so many times these books, I look at it on I have a stack on my bedside table. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get better next month when I can have time to get through that giant book. But you guys have it. I take it on the airplane because it's a nice, easy working through. It's not so overloaded with so much stuff that you're able to get through it and then move on to this next chunk.
I like that you said that too, because within it, it's journal pages as well. Mm-hmm. So it can be your own personal, journey, and you can journal your growth and see where you come from. And then also, you can give it as gifts to people as well so that they can track, their growth, in their conversations.
Well, and you keep it simple too with just the phrases, your past words equal your passwords and go through your go through. They're catchy phrases that people can remember, but they're so impactful.
Yes. Any conversations about communication, right? So we all know that people, Dr. Reid, hear differently. Yes. And so there's some tips there. Maybe you change your pace. Maybe you change the words that you use. You guys give us some more tips.
Yes.
Have effective conversations.
Yeah, I'll jump in right there because, you're speaking my language. I'm getting excited. I'm like a kid at the candy store when I talk about communication. And I think that's because I've been kind of locked out of so many different relationships in my life. I'm like, hey, freedom. Expression, right? And I always say that you want to use exactly what you have. right? What I mean by that is you use a word for a word. If there's a word that's shutting somebody down, then you can use another word, rephrase it, reframe it, and then put a word in its place. A lot of times we want to put an action in its place, but words leads to sentences. Sentences leads to paragraphs. And the next thing you know, you have a order of communication, and then they all are a part of words. So if you can juggle those words around and put the right words to understand what the word is that I need to use with my daughter, with my son, with my husband, with my boss, then a lot of times the communication gets better just because of the word choices or the nonverbals that we use.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, that was something as you were speaking, was just occurring to me, that we can often, if we don't know what people's passwords are, we can often get clues by just looking at them. Like somebody shuts down and you're like, whoa, I just hit a nerve there. So, how does that work in relationships?
And I'm glad you asked that. That's one of the points that I have in my section. It's, there's 6 points that I break down to help one have effective conversation. And, the third point is study the people that you are in relationships with.
Yeah.
And so, when you take the time to, learn the likes and dislikes of that person and study that person, for one, that shows the person that you care and it means something to you. Like just by your actions, just like you do this, you're like, how'd you know I'm checking you out? I know. So when you're able to do those things, it just makes everything better because it shows, like I said, you're making the effort and the choice to make the effort to make things better.
This is so important on so many levels. I have a big law firm I work with, and a couple of the attorneys are divorce attorneys. Mm-hmm. And I had a conversation with one of them about, the number one reason for divorce is a lack of communication or the inability to communicate. And I think it's the same thing with parents and children, because I've noticed with my own kids, there are certain things I can say, or certain ways I can ask them to do things, or certain ways I can present the best options to them that they react either positively or negatively. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of time to learn those reactions and the right things to say, but it does make a huge difference.
Because they hear you differently. So you can say the same thing to all 3 kids, but what they're hearing is
totally different. Totally different.
So
I never know who I'm talking to.
Well, that's true too.
A 20-year-old male, 20-year-old male or a 12-year-old girl. It's like, whoa.
But I think Robin just hit a huge point that it takes time. And one of the things I know all 4 chicks, we have been exploring as we are running out. We don't have as much time in a day. That whole concept of stop giving people that don't matter time to make them matter. We got to you have to eliminate those and give your 100% time to the people that do matter. Because I'm listening to all of this and it's so spot on, but it's a time investment for the people you really care about.
Can I give you a boom?
I got a boom.
I don't know if you saw me. I had to wait. I was waiting.
I knew he was ready to do something.
Yeah, you're rocking back and forth. You're just like a little kid that can't wait to tell a story in kindergarten.
That's it. Hey, just like Doc said, just excited because, like, I know, just like Doc said, from experience, the benefit of having this knowledge. And as we're discussing it. And that's one of the points she said, time. That's another point that I have, allow time for growth. You have to allow the person time to make it right. Like once you express to them, hey, yeah, this is not good. This is what we need to do. Well, give them time to grow. And I think, oh man, I'll just tell this story on me, funny about me. So, there's a process when you write. We wrote our parts, send it to the editor, all of that stuff. There's some months in between, and then you get it back. You have to do, another edit and look it over and all that. And I'm reading through it, and I'm, my part and Dr. Reid's part, and man, like it really blessed me. Like it really, like I wrote it, like reading it.
Who's
again.
that?
Yeah,
who's that smart guy?
Where did that come from? Yeah. But just reading through it, like man, this is some good stuff right here. And so I'm just so excited to get it out in the hands of everyone, because it is truly the tips that are in here. These are things that have helped me be successful in my life and my relationships.
Very good.
You know, one of the things that I get from you, Chip, and now from you too, Dr. Reid, is that this can also be not broken down, but we have to pay attention.
Yes.
We don't, you know, this is, our world is so fast paced, and like Robin, you're saying you speak differently to each of your kids, and we all do that. We use different, you know, with, I think we don't even realize it necessarily with people that we're familiar with, but if we give people that time, like Kristen, you were saying, it takes time for things to, you know, then percolate. But if we pay attention to the people in our lives, and we value them enough, and we value those relationships for the benefit that they give them and us, if we pay attention, we can pick up on a lot of this stuff.
Yes. I think one of the things that I talk about in the book is those nonverbals and just the communication, the body language. I always say that everybody on the planet Earth as well has a domain address. Think about, we live in a technological age where everybody's looking for domains, right? You purchase that domain because that ties you to your brand, or that ties you to your business. So I believe that every person has a domain or a dominion or a place where they dominate in their communication or not. So if I, again, am putting in the wrong, I'm dating Susie, but I'm putting in John's domain address, or Jim, and I'm with Ted.
Life's getting interesting in that case.
Hey.
I'm going to get a error message. I'm going to get this big error. To say, hey, you know, lock me out. And one of the things I always say that, you know, people will take time to interview for jobs. They'll file for credit. They'll do all these different things, but they won't take that time, going back to what Chip said and everybody's saying today, take the time to look at their relationship from the inside out.
I think it starts with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a hard enough time taking time for others, but I think even taking time for ourselves is so far down the list. Mm-hmm. But I think it has to start there. We have to be aware of our own feelings and our own, Dr. Reid, our own words, or those triggers that affect us. And then we'll have a better relationship with someone else. But I really think it needs to start with that self-awareness piece.
Yes. Awareness is so important.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to look within to win.
Mm-hmm.
Have to
yeah, I keep. I gotta turn the page. I gotta turn the page so I can write that down.
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
Carly.
Hey, like I tell Dr. Reid, hey, we're in the huddle. I'm about to hit you with the deep ball. Hey, we about to score a Christian like this, Eagles. Hey, like I'm about to hit you with the deep ball on this one. We're about to score. But you have to look definitely have to look within to win, and you have to make sacrifices to have that awareness piece. And quote from the book, "Success is expensive, and its currency is sacrifice." You know, so you have to.
Wow.
Say that one again.
Come on. Success is expensive, and its currency is sacrifice. And that's Stephen Mackey. That's one of the quotes that I have in the book there.
I feel so much smarter.
Me too.
You guys.
Right? Even my dogs are barking. They're so excited over there.
It's an above average Saturday morning for me.
Yeah. We try totally above average Saturday morning.
We try to do a little something, you know.
This beats cartoons.
You know, it's interesting. As I'm sitting here listening to all of this, I was just at a couple of speaking gigs back to back recently, and I was talking about parents that don't have the relationship that they want with their kids, and things are kind of messed up. And I always say that, and Dr. Reid, I don't know if you know that 2 of my kids are blind. And I looked at all of the negative stuff for too long, and now I look at the positives. And one of the biggest positive things is I had to get to know them, each of them, on a different level when they were very little, to understand what it is that they were their hopes and dreams and not my own. I took my preconceived things off of them because they couldn't possibly accomplish the things that I wanted for them. And I think parents miss out when they're putting their own stuff on their kids, and that's why they're not hearing them. That's why they aren't communicating in ways that are effective to ignite them, because they're having I want you to do it this way, and the kid is saying, I'm not programmed. But it's a very hard it's a very hard disconnect. But I think that when you grow through that learn about you, learn about the other person, and then find the effective ways, that's where all the good stuff happens. And luckily for me, that happened a long time ago. And we have a very unique, my boys and I have a very unique relationship and communication because of that. And I wish more parents would know that earlier on, to take their crap off.
Yes.
You know?
I
Well,
think
we
you
have
relate
to.
that to. Go ahead, Robin. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, we have to step back from our dreams and what we thought our kids were going to do and achieve, and let them be in their, be who they're meant to be, and not project constantly what we want them to be. And that's hard, because we want the very best for them. And we think what we know is right based on our life experiences, but that's not necessarily the case for them as individuals.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we have to break the false vows off of us, you know, because we always say that my child is going to be this and that and that, and that might not even be the route or the journey. And I always say, like I say in the book too, we have to create a to-know list. Is another play on words. That's a KNOW list, what you need to know about your kids or person in a relationship, but also the NO list, which means the things that you purposely say no to. And a lot of times with my kids, I had to say, I can't make them be what I want them to be. I have to give them a fair opportunity. But one of the things I want to take a step further, that if you see any problem, and you get, ladies can prove me wrong, but I've seen people have problems in relationship, and if I saw the problem in the relationship, I can guarantee that somewhere inside of that was a communication issue.
Oh, agree, 100%.
So if it's financial, it's a communication about the finances. If it's emotional, it's always the communication that is, I think, the steady bridge to all of everything that's successful or unsuccessful in a relationship.
Absolutely. I mean, follow Kathy's Twitter and Instagram, and that goes right along with exactly what you just said. It all comes down to, at some point, a communication breakdown, which is amazing.
I think we make assumptions.
Oh.
I think we make assumptions, don't you, Kath?
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow, that got a hell yeah.
Every
boom.
Before that person even opens their mouth, we have a preconceived idea of who that person is, right?
Oh, that's so true. And I think at least I know I'm guilty of this. I anticipate what a reaction or a response is going to be. Like I'm answering for somebody else, which is so really ridiculous, because I can't answer for anybody else, but it's that assumption or anticipation, you know? Yeah. And I think that goes into, you know, when we're anxious or fearful for doing something, and we're thinking to ourselves, oh, nobody's going to like this, or oh, nobody's going to want to hear this, or nobody's going to want to read my content. Well, we're letting those negative thoughts consume ourselves, and then that hinders our perception of what other people are going to think of us, or we're not giving them the chance to form their own opinion of us.
Yeah, 2 points I wanted to hit on that. You know, Kristen was talking about, you know, looking within and growing. And I think the sooner, and the communication with the kids or people you're around, I think the sooner we learn in our life that it ain't about you, you know, like the sooner we can learn that in our life, the quicker we'll soar high. Right. And in every situation, every decision, every choice, every action that we take, it's for a bigger purpose. You know, it affects the people around us. And so the sooner, like I said, the sooner that we learn that, hey man, it ain't about you, you know, and we are considered. Oh yeah. I mean, we all do.
Isn't it all about me? Come on.
Only on Tuesdays, Kath. On Tuesdays.
Okay, I got one day. Okay.
All right. And then the other point I wanted to hit on is, you know, the first point in my section, and you guys, it's really neat that we're just having open conversation, but you guys are talking the points. So the first point that I hit on in the book is do not assume. You know, like I mean, you just like don't assume. You know, we have to be big enough to not assume and make preconceived notions. Like we have to not be scared to have open conversation and say, how was this? You know, this is this, and don't just assume that this, you know, it was this like this before, it's going to be like that now. Like go through that process and learn from it.
Oh, process is another key word, because I think life is a process, and all of the things you're talking about, the grow through your go through, and all of these terms, have to be a process. It's a journey and a process to get to the point where you can accept those things and learn from them.
Yeah, process, seasons, and phases.
Mm-hmm.
Sports guy analogy. Everything is a season. During football season, I'm busy. Like I can't do a lot of things. After football season, it's off season. So then now I can prepare some things. I have a little more time. But there's never an off season. There's grind season.
I was gonna say,
like off don't exist when you're striving for greatness, right?
Right.
So, there's seasons where you have to adjust different things that you do. And then within those seasons, there's phases in the seasons where you work on different things. And so I think those are key points as far as it help with the process.
Robin brought up a point about starting with yourself and the conversations you're having in your own head, and that's where your bias and all that is coming from. I'm actually going to take a look at this book. I want to go through it, in terms of communicating with other people, but I also want to take a read thinking about how I communicate with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my own self-talk in there. And Mary Fran is huge on that self-talk piece, and it's life-changing for all of your relationships when you start with a different self-talk.
Yeah.
Mindset.
I like to say too that one of the quotes that I have in the book is that even if you're by yourself, you're always in a relationship with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of people in relationship coaching, they'll tell me, I don't want anybody, I don't need anybody, but I'm saying you still need yourself. You bring yourself to the table, and there's a relationship with yourself. The other thing I always tell them that relationships are moving targets. Where you started when you first got together, whether it's a work relationship, parenting, whatever, it stays true that as that child, or as that boss, or as you grow, things change. And so you have to be able to adapt, to be able to change your communication, and that's the hardest thing is us, right? The awareness of us to be able to do that. So we all chase a moving target. When you started in your marriage 20 years later, or 5 years later, you're at a different phase in that relationship or season.
Yeah, and I think that's where that whole respecting and valuing the relationships, and then you have to take my oldest son is 19 and just had some serious issues with some folks in his life, and we had to take a look at, are these people that, you go through stuff, of course, you go through conflict and you can either grow, or maybe it's time that you have to let some of the toxicity go. But when you value and respect, you can make that decision a little easier. And he did have to let some go, and he was a better person for it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got other relationships where he had to focus the time and his own empowerment there, and those have blossomed incredibly.
Again, 0.6 in the book in my part. I mean, like I was saying, like we're hitting.
It's like I'm just serving up the ball for Jim to knock it out of the park.
Like Serena Williams, like just reflect. Part 0.6, reflect, be thankful, and sift. We have to reflect on the relationship that we have. What is our part that has taken into the demise or deficit of the conversation in the relationship. Look at ourselves. Be thankful for the good that we have. Don't dwell on the bad. There's one of my neighbors, pastor and wife, they're relationship coaches, and one of the things that his wife says is take the leave the good for your spouse or whoever you're in a relationship with. Take the negative to God.
Oh, that's powerful.
Oh, right. I give the negative to him all the time.
Yeah. So and then like
he's like this.
You're like, oh, again, here comes Christian. Here comes Christian. But the good thing is he's gonna be there every time for you and help you.
He's looking at his phone. He sees it's Kristen's number. He's like,
he just turns his face on her. He turns.
He gives me that little message, says, "I'm sorry, I'm driving. I can't pick up."
hey, like the kid said.
Please hold. Your call is very important to me.
He left you on red. He saw the message. You thought he read it, but he didn't respond. He left you on red. But then the other part of that is sift, and just like you said, you have to. I'll just tell this another funny on me. There's a restaurant we call it Chicken Place in my hometown, Chicken Shack, and so that's where we all go.
Eat one of those around here.
Only in the South, right? Chicken Shack.
And that's what it is. And when you come down, we'll take you guys there, okay?
Oh, God, great.
But where we all go to get great chicken, right? So you walk in the place and you look, and then you can visualize this with me. You walk in and there's a person behind the back, lady, guy, whoever it is, but they're in there with this device and they have flour in this, I don't even know, like with the metal device with the mesh cup, you know, and
a
it's
sifter,
flour.
yeah.
Right, sifter. And so, you know, there's flour there and they're shaking it, you know, to get the fine flour in the, so they can bread the, you know, all of that process. And, you know, the clumps come out and they take the bad out and put it in the trash or whatever, and the good stuff they keep. That's what we have to do in our life and our relationships. You just explained that, Kristen. You know,
Yes.
we have to sift.
Get rid of the clumps.
Yeah, get rid
Get
of the
rid of
clumps
the
in our
clumps,
life.
baby.
Get the
You know,
clumps out.
yeah, we have to be able to do that. And again, like I said, you hit the point that you just explained that process with your son.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but watching then him so much lighter and able to be himself
Oh yeah,
with the
Yeah.
right people is so much better.
the fine flower, the fine people. When you're
Kristen,
able to, you know, bridge
it's
yourself with the fine people.
it's crazy how we're like on such parallel paths because our kids are the same age. Like they're both sophomores in college. They both broke up with their girlfriends. Like they're both, but you know, as a parent trying to help them with their communication skills and how to handle relationships, it's not easy. But
No.
what you guys are doing and the information you're putting out into the world is so powerful because it's going to lend people the tools that they need to teach the younger generations how to communicate even. I mean, this is a great book for that I'm going to have my boys read because I think in those, you know, early young adult 8 years, this is going to help them on their journey to, you know, success in their careers, success in future relationships, so on and so forth.
And all
I think it's
seasons
an
and all phases
absolute-
of your life.
Oh, sorry, Chip.
No, you're good, son.
Robin, what you said, it's an absolute necessity now because they're not communicating the way we learned how to communicate.
Right.
Yes.
They're texting. Everything's they don't have to have the face to face.
There's no face-to-face. There's no phone call, so you can't even. It's not a voice-to-voice. There aren't even full sentences.
Right.
They're characters and emojis is how these kids are communicating now.
Yeah.
So
That's
if
how
we
my
don't
middle
help
son
them-
communicates with me. $100 million for that cell phone, and he sends me emojis only. And I
Yeah.
have to decipher. He's a man. Some people are a man of few words. He's a man of few emojis.
Put that on a T-shirt. That's cute.
That's awesome.
It's great.
Love it.
Well, you guys, this has been amazing.
I don't believe
But
we're at the end.
I think it's time to do our squirrel brain roundup. So, our squirrel brain I can't talk. Squirrel brain roundup. Say that 10 times fast. We just kind of do value bombs for the end of the show to leave our audience with. So, I want to start with Chip and Dr. Reid. I think if you guys could give us, each of you give us those just value bombs to leave our listeners with.
I want to start with Dr. Reid, if you don't mind, Doc. You can go first.
No problem. I enjoyed this. Thank you for Chicks. It's been amazing. I'm like, do we have to go yet?
I know, right? Our time is up.
Phenomenal. One of the things, I have just 2 quotes that I want to kind of break down. It's impossible, I found this, to be open and closed at the same time. It's impossible to be open and closed at the same time. People want to be open, but then they want to be closed. And this is like walking through a door. You can't open the door and close it at the same time and expect to walk through it. You know, you have to decide what you want to do. So in communication, you have to decide what you want to do. And then I always want to say, speaking without effective listening is like having an accelerator in a car with no brake.
Ooh.
Speaking without effective listening is like having an accelerator in the car with no brake. You're headed to a crash somewhere. So thank you guys. Ladies, thank you.
Wow.
Love that. I love that.
That was good. Top that, Chip.
I know, right? I set myself up.
You set yourself
Yeah,
up.
you made
buddy.
him go first. Ready?
set
Everybody sit
myself
back.
up.
What's Chip got for us? Boom.
I
Let's
just
go.
I just have to say, I have never been in a conversation where there have been so many analogies that were just spot on.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even just talking sports analogies. We're talking cooking. We're talking automobiles. I mean, it's like,
Mary Fran, I think it's my turn for show notes too, so this is going to hurt.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of writing to do, sister. You got a lot of writing.
Our Twitter feed's going to go berserk because there's so many tweetables in
I
here.
know.
Yes.
All right,
excellent.
Chip, you're up.
you're
All
up.
right, so I'm up. Let's go. All right, looking at you in the huddle, Doc. We got to go score. Let's go.
You got it.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, so a couple things here. First, quote from the book: people will make deposits and withdrawals. The goal is to make more deposits than withdrawals. The challenging thing about relationships is that you have to make deposits. And so,
Very good.
and that's Rob YB Youngblood, and that's a quote from the book. And so, in our relationships and anything that we do, we have to make deposits. We have to get over ourselves and know, just like I said, the sooner we learn it ain't about you. The sooner we learn that, Kathy does not want to hear that at all. She covered up her ears. She doesn't want to hear that. But when we look within to win and we learn that about ourselves, it's a great feeling when we can give to others and serve for others and not expecting anything back from it.
Oh gosh, that's powerful.
And the genuineness that comes across from that, I'm just here to help. I'm just here to serve. And it's amazing how when you do those things and get over yourself, how in your life, things just organically become amazing and start happening for you. Great things just line up, but what it started as is, you had a pure heart, you had a genuine heart, and you were trying to do things the right way and not for selfish gain. So that's the first point that I want to hit on. And then the second point is, you might have heard this before from me, but in order to be great at anything you have to do, you got to go get it.
I was waiting.
Hey, you gotta go get it.
Yeah.
You have to make it happen. You have to grow through your go through, and don't be afraid to get dirty and get grimy and make it happen. You have to, get outside the box and stretch yourself and, do those things that you really don't want to do, but you have to do that will make you better in your relationship so that you have that effective conversation.
Very good.
Boom.
How about
I love
that,
it.
Doc?
Boom.
How about
We don't
that?
have to say
Chest
another
bump.
word, chicks. We just
No.
we got
That's it.
schooled by these two gentlemen
We
today.
got schooled.
We got schooled.
We got to go get it. That's what we got to do now.
So good.
Awesome.
Thank you, gentlemen. Where can you tell our listeners where they can find you guys to connect on social, where we can find the book?
Yes, go ahead, Doc.
Oh, they can find Chip anywhere. We know that.
Anyway, it's like 2 or 3 a chip.
That's awesome.
He's down on the corner.
Chip's in your driveway
Yes,
right
he's
now.
already
Chip is
there.
in your driveway.
With chicken.
The chicken from the chicken shack, chicken place.
But you can find the book on Amazon, all kind of media outlets, Books A Million, any online outlets you can find it. If you put in the title "Effective Communications to a Night Relationship" or Chip Baker or Dr. Oliver T. Reid, you can find us. I'm fully branded as the Relationship Architect on social media, as well as if you go to my website, www.therelationshiparch, that's ARCH.com. You can find me there. And anywhere you want us to be, we're there.
Yeah. And
Chip, how about you?
Yeah, if you don't mind, can we have Dr. Reid tell about his board game, please?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think it's amazing. So, Doc, if you don't mind talking about that, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know it's my
I
turn.
love board games. I'm like a freak over them.
awesome. Well, I don't know if you can see these, but I have a deck of cards. It's called The Interview, and that interview is INNERVIEW game, The Interview, and it's 29 cards, 116 questions, and 5 variations of how you can play this game. So it's basically looking at relationships from the inside out, and it's actually a fun way to ask the hard questions in your relationship. So you can play it with your significant other, you can play with your adult children. Game is 18 and up, so go get it. And it's at interviewgame.com, and it's INNERVIEW.com.
I love that.
Love it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I had to get that out there because I think, again, that's amazing.
yeah.
Thank you for doing that. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
I truly believe in the things that he's doing, and it's the thing, just like I said, being in contact with him has helped me learn so much, and I think it's great. We just got to share that with the world. But myself, all social media is Chip Baker, TSC, YouTube, podcast platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. So it's no excuse.
We should do a TikTok.
It's no excuse for you not to get this positive inspiration and motivation. None, because it's everywhere, right?
It really
And
is.
that's intentional. It's on purpose. It's
I
intentional.
think one of those planes just went by.
Hey, it has "go get it" on it. It has "go get it."
Hey,
Yeah, it's on the plane. But
That's hilarious.
yeah. but seriously, the normal thing that people say, go check it out, like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, rate, all of that stuff. That's great. But just like I said earlier, like, I know that it ain't about me. And so, if you see something that you like, hear, and that it'll help somebody that you know and love, please share it with them. And if you can do that, man, that would be awesome. So again, go get it.
Let me say one thing about Chip's social media. If you want to have just a moment of being uplifted,
Yes,
and just need something, first of all, Chip's posts are always uplifting. But then I would encourage everybody, go through the comments.
Yeah.
Because all of the people in Chip's network, Chip, you really have, it's like you just give a hug to everybody
Yes.
in your network. And
Yeah.
you really
I like
see
that.
how it's not about you. You make everything about everybody else. And the comments reflect all of that. Everybody's very, very impacted by your stuff.
Thank you so much.
They are. And you choose people that have not only had success, but they are making an impact on other people's lives. Because I follow a lot of the people that, through your post I've seen, and I'm like, dang, my feed is just positive, positive,
Mhm.
positive. It's awesome.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
Yes.
All right. Well, I
Yeah.
think that's a wrap for this episode of Four Chicks Chatting. I think I'm going to venture to say it's probably one of the best we've had
Oh, shucks.
to date. No offense to anybody else, but
Boom.
I mean,
Let's
when we've
go.
got booms galore, it's a good episode.
There's smoke coming out of it right now.
Fire. Hold on, wait. The fire. Oh no, I thought I heard it. I thought I heard him coming.
No, that
I
was the
thought I heard-
plane with the Chip banner.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, find us on that social thing, the number 4 Chicks Chatting. And please, if you would, leave us a review. They do help us grow and they give us confidence and make us feel good too. So that is it for today, everybody. We'll see you on that social thing.